All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining us. This is our busy webinar for February. Today, we're going to be talking about how to use video effectively in your marketing and how to make some really great video. Thank you so much for joining us. We're really excited that you're here. Typically, I try and start a couple of minutes after the hour, thinking that people are going to slide in, and then they usually, as soon as I start, another 6 or 7 people cycle in. But I don't want to keep those of you who've been diligent in getting here on time waiting. So let's go ahead and get started. If you are new to the busy webinar, thank you for joining us. We are a digital marketing agency that's based in Minneapolis and St. Paul. We help sales and marketing teams entering their growth phase to attract, engage, and delight their audiences to close more business. Our goal is usually to bring in more sales using inbound marketing or optimized websites, advertising, content, SEO, email, social media, anything we can to try and bring an entire marketing team to your company for less than a new hire. So if you are interested in learning a bit more about that, I'd love to talk to you after the fact. So we are been doing this going on 22 years now. We have all sorts of great certifications that I've got on screen there. For those of you who are attending in real time, if you do have questions, please feel free and throw up a hand. And if you can use the Q&A panel on your screen sharing on your Zoom device, then I should be able to see it and hopefully answer your questions for you. So, okay, so congratulations, we've made it to 2021. This is fantastic. We're up, we're running. This is great. We've created a new marketing plan. We've set our tactics for the year. We've got a budget, and we started working on the marketing plan. Okay, we can do this. And oh, wait, sales needs something new. And man, we didn't budget for it. And oh, wait, management now needs something new. And oh, geez, we didn't budget for that either. But oh, yeah, also, we need you to make a video. So can you handle that? Well, we're going to try and make it work for you today. So the good news is video is more important than ever in our marketing tool chest and the ways in which we can use this. Video, by and large, increases conversion rates by over 80% and increases open rates in email well over 19%. And even more important than that, 90% of people say video helps in buying decisions. So there's absolutely a case to be made for using it. And we're excited that we can share some of this with you today. So here's how I'm going to break this down today. Number one, we're going to talk about why video is important in 2021. Then we're going to talk about marketing videos and the different kinds of videos that you can make. Second, sales videos and how those differentiate a little from marketing videos. Fourth, I guess, is an equipment primer. So how can you make this look great without it actually costing a lot of money? And then finally, how do you optimize those video assets? So I wanted to come back to this graph that I showed to start with, because it really does show you a lot, the tremendous amount of value that you can get by having these assets that you create working together. So if you can see there in the pink and the blue, videos and social videos are two of the top 4. So there's value to be had now more than ever to be using video in our strategic marketing plans and our strategic efforts. Emails and newsletters, social media, blog articles, these are still very, very important. Even having content in PDF form to download, read later, all of these have a place. One is not necessarily more important than other, but video still in this day and age is getting more crucial. Why is that? Well, 45% of marketers, if you're on with us, are adding YouTube into their social strategy. And I'm going to talk a lot more about YouTube a little later. And then in addition to that, 93% of businesses say it helps with new customer acquisition. So it can absolutely pay dividends if you're doing it well and you're doing it early and often as part of your overall social strategy. So let's talk about what kind of videos you can make. There's a lot of different kinds of videos you can make, and they all have pluses and minuses. But first, we're going to talk about marketing videos. I want to talk first about What exactly is the purpose of that? Well, really it's to help those people and those individuals who are looking at you to maybe try and solve a problem. You're wanting them to look at you and evaluate you. So you might be trying to increase brand awareness. You might be trying to increase traffic to your site. You might be trying to do a number of different things, but all of which is within that what I'm going to bucket as marketing as part of what we're going to talk about. So first of all, demo videos. This is my favorite demo video, I think, of all time. What exactly is a demo video? Really what it is it's an opportunity to showcase your product and really demonstrate what it does and show people how it works. It might be something like touring your facilities to show how something is made, or even an unboxing video where you show people what they all get in the package if your stuff comes packaged, or even a how-to video if your product or service requires some installation functionality, then how can you do that, and how can you show people how easy it is? Another great one is putting the product to the test. You can see those in videos that like to show how strong things are. I think one of the most fun examples is the guy who put the screen door in the bottom of a boat to show how his spray can stuff helped seal the cracks. I used it and it just seemed like black spray paint, but I bought it because I thought, man, that I wish I could see that. That's cool. So demo videos, absolutely vitally important if you have the opportunity to have a product that is demonstratable, especially in addition to that for service as well. So if you're trying to show people how to do things, a lot of times showing actually demonstrating a video on how it works is great, as opposed to just telling them or writing them a long extensive email. It's a great communication tool. Next, brand videos. These are created as part of a larger campaign. Let me go ahead and show you this one. This is one of our brand videos at BusyWeb. So you create this as part of a larger campaign where you're really trying to show your high-level vision, your mission, or your product or service. At BusyWeb, really one of the things that we try and pride ourselves on is being collaborative and being proactive with our clients. So that's why we created this collaborative video. The goal of this is to intrigue or attract your target audience, where you are trying to get them to watch a couple-minute video and think, maybe I want to talk to these people further. Maybe I want to have them potentially solve a problem. Ultimately, the goal is to build awareness at a deeper level of what you're doing already. Next are event videos. Event videos are incredibly helpful if you're hosting a conference or a fundraiser. Ultimately, when you're hosting a conference or a fundraiser, even online, you want to be able to show people, what do they get for going? What is the value that they get if they spend the time, the money, the effort, the sunk cost of leaving work, leaving their family, potentially getting on a plane, anything like that? What do they really get from it? Really, what you're trying to do is attract attendance by showing people how cool and how fun it is to go. So what's an easy way to do that? Well, generally speaking, the best way to do that is if you can highlight fun and keynote speakers and good things from past events. That's a great way to showcase how awesome it is to be in attendance. Another great marketing video that is certainly helpful as part of your marketing video toolkit is an expert interview. What exactly is an expert interview? You can see here, this is Homer really diving in on a high level on some gravy, because he's certainly an expert when it comes to gravy. But really what it is it's a great way to build trust and authority with your target audience. So by showing your expertise and showing your thought leadership in a long form interview, it gives people, again, the opportunity to evaluate you and make sure that if they're giving you money, then they're doing so, they're going to be validated by that decision. By giving you the money, you're going to be able to solve their problem. So how do you go about doing that? Well, one of the easier ways to do that is to find influencers in your industry. even if they have a different viewpoint than you still have the opportunity to take advantage of them. And you'll see that a lot. People are doing this in an audio way in podcasts, but especially now that we are all on Zoom all the time, having the opportunity to meet with an expert and interview them does give you the opportunity to show a visual medium as well. Ultimately, what are you trying to do here? You're trying to get into deeper discussions in front of your audience. It shows a couple of things. Number one, it shows thought leadership, which is great, but it also shows that you have an inquisitive mind and an innovative mind, that you are trying to get better and still trying to be at the top of your game. When you go deep like this, don't be afraid to get tactical. Deep dives are for deep discussions. So if you're going to have a longer video, an expert video interview isn't something you do for 2 or 3 minutes. You do it for 20 or 30 minutes and you post it to YouTube, and then you create campaigns around it so that you're showing people how smart you are and how innovative you are. Next is educational videos. When we're talking about educational videos, this is something where you're trying to teach your audience something new that they don't know. This is a great way to go through your list of frequently asked questions, things that people ask you on a regular basis, and then try and create some content around that. So one of the things we do at BusyWeb is we've got a video on our YouTube channel about 7 horrible mistakes you're making with your website. This is something that we put out and we created because we want to show people that, hey, you might have something wrong with your website and we are in the position to be able to fix it. The goal here is what we're trying to do is build foundational knowledge. We want these people to start thinking about whether or not they have a problem and whether or not what the solution that they might come up with is sufficient or not. So that's the second and third stage in the buyer's journey, where we're trying to validate that there is a problem and there could be something better. This can be used either by sales or service teams. One of the ways that we use this is we share this as an educational tool, not only for prospects, but also for partners as well, because we want to show them not only that we have a certain amount of knowledge when it comes to this, but also that we have the opportunity to solve the problem as well. Great way to do this is to pair this with how-to videos. So if you've created this idea that there is a problem, well, you probably want to help them solve it as well. Ultimately, the real goal in these video production series is to create sales opportunities in ways where people will give you money to help solve the problem. But before that, you might want to consider the idea of offering them a way to DIY it yourself. Sometimes DIY is something you can do. Sometimes it's easier. Sometimes it's much, much harder. So again, these are great for training and thought leadership demonstration as well. So not only from a sales and marketing standpoint, but also from a service standpoint. A lot of times if we're trying to get somebody who's having a problem with their website, we might just make them a couple-minute video to show them how to do something so they've got it, not only for the problem they've got now, but also for the problem that they may have again in the future. All right, we're still working our way through. And here's Dave.
Are you guilty of somebody's website blunders? Hi, I'm Dave Meyer of BusyWeb, and here's some ways you may be sabotaging your website's success.
We'll move on because I've got a lot of information that I want to get to. But if you are interested in checking out that video, is a great educational video example. Would love to have you go to our YouTube channel and check it out. Or if you need to, you can feel free and contact me after this, and I'll be happy to give you the credentials to see it. One of the things we did recently in the last 12 months is we've got a client called Onward Financing. We did a video on their Mortgage for Movers program. It's an explainer video. Really what it is it's an explanation why their audience needs that product or service and why they might be interested in it. In doing so, really the way to create that video is to focus on the fictional buyer's journey. So And that buyer's journey is that ideal customer that you always want to deal with and you always would like to fictionalize and create more of. Well, what's their buyer's journey? How are they finding you? What are their problems? And then how do you solve them? So we talked about this a lot in 2020, but just in brief, in order to do that, create a core persona, that fictionalized representation of that great customer that you really want to see over and over and over again. They're struggling with a problem that you can solution. That is, what's a solution? I guess that's a singular of solution. A problem you can solve. And that person can, if they adopt or buy your solution, their problem is going to be solved. So that's what an explainer video is. And you can see it's just a completely different style than the one that we shared with before. Animated videos, I showed this video to you a little earlier. Again, the concept here is when you're creating an animated video is what you're trying to do is create a hard to grasp concept that perhaps can have a strong video. So in our case, we created this concept of collaborative to that really we just made up our own words because we really like to be collaborative and we like to be proactive with our clients. And so in doing so, we sort of created this abstract thing. And so we created this video because it promotes that intangible theme of really what we're trying to get is to, with our clients, is to work with them and work in conjunction with them and be a partner with them. So they are great to do, but they're not necessarily evergreen. And an evergreen is something that is a video that will work for you consistently and constantly. So the challenge is if you have this great product line that you might want to change later, then your animated video does need to change to update that. In our case, we still love to be collaborative with our clients, however. Case studies and customer testimonials. I think everybody kind of has a good idea of that. Really what you're trying to do is show a real life person in a real life scenario that you've solved their problem and that they are happy with you and they continue to be happy with you. It also validates the prospect's concern who's watching that video that they might have a problem. What you're trying to show them is somebody similar who's you've already worked with and helped before. If you're going to do this, try and get your best advocates on camera talking about you. So you want to show people who look like them with problems like them that you've solved before. The reason I say the problems that look like them is that do you have to have particularly pretty people or people who are attractive or anything like that? No, not at all. Really what I'm saying is that you want to have people that sound that resemble where they're coming from. So for instance, if I had somebody here in Minnesota who I had on a testimonial video, well, I probably don't want to have them with a Southern accent talking about Coca-Cola. I want to have them with a Minnesotan accent talking about pop because we really want to show like things together. Still more marketing videos. I got 3 more to go. Can you believe how many types of marketing videos that you can use to help grow your company and tie into your marketing? Live videos are next. Look at that guy in that glass. That is frightening. I'm a little scared of heights when I look at something like that. Great ways to use a live video is a special behind the scenes look at your company, things that are happening off the cuff or fun things that are happening quickly. The longer the stream, the higher the engagement rate that you get. So what I mean by that, if you go for 15 or 20 minutes, you will get higher engagement rates over the course of the video because people will come in and out. How higher of an engagement would you get? Well, by and large, the book will tell you 8.1 times longer with live video. One of the great ways in which to use live videos to do Ask Me Anything or have an office hours where you are on video and you're asking people to share questions and share with you sort of those frequently asked questions and get to the point where they are coming to you regularly to try and get answers. And again, the goal there is they've seen that you're a thought leader. And then once they see that you're a thought leader, then hopefully when it comes time to a buying decision, they'll remember you. You can also duplicate other types of videos like the how-to videos, the unboxing videos, But again, really what you're trying to show is that the prospect's concerned that they have a problem. You're validating that not only, yes, they really do have a problem, but even more importantly than that, you can solve it. Two more. The next one is 360-degree or virtual reality videos. These are great if you're trying to show a lot of things in one particular space, which is that size of that video screen. This is an example from a company called New Spaces. They're a remodeler based here in the Twin Cities. And this is this particular technology that's called Matterport, that you can take a 360-degree view of a space, and then somebody can actually create their own self-directed tool. They can look at everything from every different angle. The cool thing about this is if your viewer ends up controlling the experience. They can look at any sort of minute thing. They can spend as much time in the space as possible. This is great if you're creating spaces that you want people to start imagining themselves in. When the more time they spend in this fictional space, the more time they're imagining about what they would do in a similar space. Generally speaking, these are used for high-end real estate or like remodels that I've got here. A lot of times you'll see them on real estate listings in the MLS, or through a VR experience where you'd have to use an Oculus or a VR thing like Google Cardboard. The best thing for this is when you want your prospect to have an immersive experience. When you want them to be in the space and have a great example of what it's like to use your product or service in that space, a 360-degree VR video would be great for that. Okay. Last type of marketing video is a personalized video. This was something that we did for one of our colleagues here at BusyWeb. This was a video where one of our colleagues, because we're all out right now, working mobile. Oh, that's not true. About 50% of us are still working mobile. When we did this, we took his background and we put it all on his background to say, congratulations on your work anniversary at BusyWeb. So he had the entire company together. Why would you want to make a personalized video? Well, it cuts through the noise of regular email. So it shows that you care. It shows that you're getting in a little deeper, that you've taken the time to put together something that is uniquely just for them, as opposed to just another email or just another paragraph. Because nobody really gets up and says, man, I really want to read a 4-paragraph email today, but they do want to feel good and want to feel like somebody else cares. By and large, 60 to 90 seconds is a great time limit for this. It's something that generally is better than a voicemail, or if it's a special occasion like this, then it is absolutely great. What can you do? It shows intimacy. It shows that you're creating that one-to-one connection with that person. In this particular instance, we made this for a guy named Ryan. It's completely useless to us unless we find another guy named Ryan who has the same wallpaper. But for Ryan, he thought it was really special and really felt good about it. A couple of free tools that are available to do these kind of things. This was something that we took off of an iMac, but you can also use Soapbox and Vidyard. And again, if you want to check those out after, soapbox.com or vidyard.com are great. Okay, so we've talked about all the different kind of marketing videos that you can make. Now let's talk about videos in sales. So by and large, salespeople spend about 35% of their time doing admin work, which is a ton of time. If you're a business owner, really, what do you want from your salespeople? You want them on the phone, you want them closing deals, you want them deepening relationships. And that's ideally what most salespeople are good at, which is to develop relationships and earning trust. So we're going to use videos to try and give us a way to bridge that gap of the pandemic, but also to create more quicker opportunities for your salespeople to have more better contacts with people. Excuse me. So what are a couple of benefits for sales? Well, number one, it makes people's ears perk up. It makes them think. because when you see that play button on a video, you feel compelled to play it and you feel compelled to click on it. If you're just sitting there and seeing something over and over and over again, well, you've seen it once, it goes in one ear and out the other. But it's like putting an unwrapped gift in front of somebody. Pretty soon they're going to start to wonder, what is this? And can I open it? And is this going to be good for me? That gives you a certain amount of power, because what you're trying to do in the sales process is compel your prospect to do what you want them to do, which is to give you a certain amount of money to do either a thing or give them a product. So in order to get to that one last big ask where there's an exchange of goods and services and money, you have to start earning trust. And the way in which you do that is by compelling them to give you little bits of trust to start. And even something as simple as pressing play is a trust exercise that you're asking people to do. So when you back up one step further, when you're trying to get people to start to trust you, putting a play button in front of them is a great way to do that. 5 good reasons to use video. I'd like to say that I do this in rapid fire, but I'm got a stuffy nose today, so I don't know how rapid fire it's going to be. So first of all, we're going to break through the inboxes. By and large, everybody gets a ton of email, but not everybody gets personalized sales emails. If we look at the book response, we get 3 times more responses from video than we do from just words. Next, we're going to build relationships at a distance. Again, with the pandemic, not all of us are getting out and going to sales appointments anymore. But we still have that need of wanting people to trust us and wanting people to work with us. So this gives us the opportunity to build relationships at a distance. Sometimes you need to explain concepts more simply, and you can do that by answering more conversationally. And you can do that just by making a quick video. And more importantly, you're accelerating deal cycles by saving time. I know in my case, I'm in business development here at BusyWeb. And when I do that, what's the better use of my time? Spending 20 minutes writing an email or making a 2-minute personalized video? I make a lot of video. Here's a great example of what it looks like when I put in a video and what it looks like in my email. You can see there's that play button there that's just saying, hey, come here, play me, play me, play me. And I can actually embed it into the video. So where am I going to use video? Anywhere I connect with people remotely, either email, LinkedIn, wherever. If I do put it in an email, I also like to include the word video, because if I do that, my email is going to be 8 times more likely to be open. It's even higher if it includes motion. So if you have the opportunity to have a thumbnail GIF on the front of it, which is something you can do on Vidyard, you're going to get an even higher rate of open. As I said, this works in LinkedIn and Twitter DMs as well, and you can even post these things to LinkedIn. It's really a fantastic way to create quick videos and create quick personalized content. One of the things that this is truly great for is working for account-based marketing, where you're trying to go after bigger accounts. You might have 5 or 6 different people who are in on the buying decision to work with you. And each one of those 5 or 6 different people might have different wants and different needs, and you might even have to talk to them in a different way. So by creating quick videos where you're talking into them in different ways, you're going to have a great opportunity to make each one of those people feel special. Ultimately, by doing these things, it breathes life into your value proposition. And in the sales process, what's your value proposition? Number 1 is that you have a problem, and number 2, it can be solved. All right, there are 4 different types of videos. Number 1 is a selfie video. First of all, that's generally recorded with your webcam. It creates the opportunity to have a face-to-face personal connection. Again, it's not entirely face-to-face, but it does get your face put on screen. And oh my goodness, I'm actually wearing that outfit today. Wow. Next, it helps you build relationships. Again, when somebody sees that you're taking the time to make a personalized video, that's a fantastic way that they're going to feel good about hearing you out and listening to your videos. Another great way to do that is to use a selfie video is to introduce prospects to your office or to your team. People like project managers, people like customer service people, people like technical people that they're going to be realizing and talking to on a regular basis. That's a great way for you to say, hey, here are the people who are going to be working with you next. Next type of sales video is a screen share. This is something I like to do when I show people a concern that I have with a website. Number one, it saves me from having to write a complicated email. Second, it also shows people what I'm talking about, not how to do something. And third, it tours their site, their app, their LinkedIn page, whatever. It creates a personalized connection. Because if that's your website and you're looking at that thinking, hey, what's that guy in the bottom corner there? And what's he really thinking of? I want to click on that and I want to take the next step. Next type of sales video is a marketing video. That's something where you really show what's next, show what you're coming out with as an innovation. That's great for a mass if you're doing a mass campaign, but also creates a personal feel. It also is a great opportunity to show, not to tell people how to do something, because it's something that that person can come back to over and over and over again. Again, how do you do that? Well, tour their site, their app, their LinkedIn page, try and show a personal connection. Last type of sales video is a common playlist, something that you use on a regular basis, thank yous, follow-ups, anything like that. Show things that are personalized that you use frequently, that you do on a regular basis. So things like a commonly asked question or a demo on how does something work, or a further example of how of your work. Those are great to have in a common playlist. Again, where do you find that content? Get back to those FAQs, pull out the idea of what are the things that you get asked on a regular basis and create some video content around that. When you're talking about a video strategy when it comes to sales, why do you want to do something like this, and what are the best practices that we've found that really works? You can see there, I was trying to get somebody who was a really a big Neil Diamond fan to click on my video. So I even made him a personalized front. It really works best when you get all of your salespeople to adopt this as a tool, because if everyone works together, everyone is being collaboratively working together and collaborative. It reduces the drag of prospecting. Again, nobody really likes just sitting at a phone and dialing an hour and a half by themselves. It gets old. But if somebody creates a video, tries a certain thing, and it works, and it gets them a meeting, gets them to the next step, that's fantastic, because then you can start sharing and really working together as a team. And then sales stops being an individual sport and starts being a team sport. Analytics are crucial for this, paired with open rates, because anytime you send somebody a sales video using one of the tools that I mentioned, Vidyard or Soapbox, you can actually tell, and the system will tell you when they've looked at the video, how many times they've looked at the video, and whether or not they've shared the video. So you get instant analytics right at your fingertips to know if they're starting to interact with you again. Okay, all this sounds great, but how do we actually make your video, and how do we make a video that is going to be meaningful for us? So I'm going to take a minute and take a drink of water and say, for those people who are attending live, if you want to put in a question right now, feel free, and I will answer them while I take my drink. No questions? Okay, cool. Well, I figured the next obvious question to ask is how do I make a video? Karen King asks, can I play any examples of your sales videos? No, Karen, I can't, but I'll tell you what I will do is I will send you one later. So you can see it and I can show it to you. And I do have a couple of other videos that I am going to share, but thank you for your question. That's a great question. Okay, how do we make a video? Well, there's a process that you want to go through in order to make sure that you're going to create an effective video. Is number one, plan it out. What are you going to try and do? How are you going to do it? Write out a script. I know that sounds weird, but it is helpful and it is important. Next, understand how to use your camera effectively. Then set up your area or your studio. Prep your talent. Yes, that's important. Edit your video and then post and test. Okay, first things first, plan your video. Karen, back to your question. This was a video that I tried that went absolutely nowhere. I am not an attractive Spider-Man. That was a big failure on my part. Okay, so when you're planning your video, I tried to be funny in this case and it didn't work, but what the question you want to ask is, what are you trying to accomplish? What is the purpose of your video? So when you do these kind of things and you're asking these people who say, hey, we should make a video, ask them to write down their thoughts and write down really what are we trying to accomplish just by being funny. Is it something where we just want to be funny, be irreverent, show people we're out there, or do we want to achieve a specific type of goal? Kind of things that you want to think about is your target audience. What are their goals? Where is the video going to live? When do you need to have it done by? How creative can you be? How irreverent can you be? I think I've cornered the market on irreverence, and oftentimes it's good to be collaborative so that my irreverence can maybe get dialed back several notches, but and be more focused on the goal. But really, the question you want to ask yourself here is, what constitutes success? If we make this video and we put in this time, what do we want to achieve and how do we know if we've met it? Next, script your video. And the way that we do that when we create our videos at BusyWeb is to create a storyboard. Literally write down the entire video shot by shot, say exactly what we're going to do, make a shooting list of how we're going to do things in the order in which we're going to do them. Next, don't bury the lead. Make sure the purpose of the video is apparent right up front. We did a video recently about bad sales tactics, and we did that clearly by adding a bumper that said, these are bad sales tactics, don't do these. Your language should be clear, conversational, and relaxed. You should talk how people talk. So you don't want somebody to be stilted or robotic. You want them to talk just like they would talk. If you actually want to script out the whole thing word for word, that's a great idea. But do a table read so that if you want to, you can cut words. If something sounds particularly awkward, then you can actually have that taken care of ahead of time. Next, set up your studio. Number one, always shoot on a tripod. No matter how good your camera is, unless you're shooting an episode of Cops, it's going to come on a little shaky. Space is critical, either on your phone or on a camera that you're using, because video takes up a monster amount of space. In addition to that, sound is important. So if you try shooting a video and you're not really comfortable with the sound, check on Amazon. You can get phone microphones, or you can get phones that plug in for it to get a little better sound. If you are going to use your phone, turn on your do not disturb feature while filming. That is critical, because the last thing you want to have happen, and this happens to me more times than I care to admit, is my mother will finally decide that that is the time she's going to text me when I'm trying to make a funny video. Lighting is crucial, and it's very important. So I wanted to take the opportunity to have Dave, who is our owner and president of BusyWeb, but also is a national speaker for Google, to give you a tour of his studio. So let's do that.
Hey there, it's Dave Meyer with BusyWeb, and I just wanted to give you a quick overview on what good lighting should look like as you're connecting and setting your videos. Now, I'm shooting a video over my head, and you can see a little bit of my setup in the background. I have my screens that I'm presenting on, and there's a camera right there in the middle of my screen. And so if I'm shooting my video, I want to make sure that I have a window over my head. And so I've got a window with nice natural light coming at me, and that only gives that side of the room. So I also have a ring light right here. It's also going to give me some nice even lighting. and that's between my head and the camera. So if I'm looking here, you can see what that lighting actually looks like. And then you also want to make sure that you've got a good overview and are paying attention to what's behind you. Because as I'm looking at my screen, you can see my office is nice and neat and clean. I've got some Google swag because I'm presenting for Google quite a bit. And then right over on the side here, I do have my professional quality microphone that I've got set up that's nice and close to my face. The closer you get to your face, the better your microphone sounds. Now I'm presenting on a phone right now, but if I had a lavalier, I would plug that in as well. So always keep nice, easy, natural light on your face. That way people can see what your face looks like instead of you being incredibly blown out. And so having a nice ring light like this that you can adjust the temperature on, you can see my teleprompter set up just off to the side there as well, and have your light behind the camera and facing you. And that's the best way to have a great and professional looking, well lit video.
Thanks, Dave. And if you're interested on seeing that video, somebody asked the question, can you turn up that video? It is available on our YouTube channel. Next, what kind of camera do we really want to choose? Well, you've already got a great camera in your pocket, more than likely. With the new iPhones especially are fantastic and have a lot of different functionalities when it comes to cameras, but make sure that you turn on your DND feature. I talked about that a little earlier. If you're gonna shoot horizontally for the experience, because you're gonna have more stuff to work with and you're not gonna have that black bars on each side that is taking up more space. If you do use a phone, lock the exposure before you press record. So if you do that, you should see a little button that says AE/AF lock. If you do that, it won't bump around a whole lot. Next, make sure that you prep your talent. This is crucially important because you want to make sure everybody knows their part. Like any good meeting, make sure that you set an agenda, clue everybody in on what you're trying to accomplish, set the expectations, and then execute. This is important because if you're asking people to do something that they're not particularly comfortable with, for instance, some people like to have a full-blown every word script. Some people just want to let her rip and give them an idea and they'll go with it. Make sure they understand what you're looking for before you start filming so you don't get frustrated. It's important to remember, though, that your people aren't professional actors. So if it does sound a little weird, it doesn't sound like exactly what you like in your head, that's okay. That's fine. Chances are good they probably don't like it either. So always ask if they want to do a second take. So the last bit that I want to include on is something that our project manager, Rachel, does when we do videos for BusyWeb, is have a bit of space. So shoot for the edit. So when Rachel has us do customized videos, what she has us do is literally count down with our fingers, 3, 2, 1, so that the editor can come through and know when something's going to start because they can just look right at the fingers. Which then brings us to the hardest part of videos, which is the editing process. I like to think that I'm a pretty smart guy, and even I've had some trouble with iMovie, but you can do it. It can work if you've got a Mac. There are great PC editors as well. It's intermediate level, but difficult. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but you can get the hang of it with time and practice. Adobe has a great Premiere Pro one, which is fantastic. Also, you want to consider music. So if you use royalty-free music, you can do that. It doesn't mean that you have to pay. It doesn't always mean that you have to pay, but it doesn't mean that it is free. You do have to give attribution to that person and that composer. If you're going to include music, intro and outro music tends to work the best. But again, bringing in that shooting for the edit portion is how this is going to pay off for you when you've got a little space on each side. Where do you host your video? Once it's done, once it's great, once you want to start strategically putting it into the rest of your marketing campaigns, well, YouTube is the largest video hosting platform. There's another one called Vimeo, which is great. That's kind of video for nerds, but it's YouTube is really the biggest in the world. And really, if I'm going to recommend anything, I want you to go there, because YouTube is also the second largest search engine in the world behind Google itself. And that's critical, because if you're creating this asset, you want it to be able to be found and be seen. And thirdly, YouTube is also the second most visited site in the world behind Google itself. So if you're looking at trying to figure out where to host, yes, YouTube does have some issues one way or the other, but in the grand scheme of things, it's hard to beat the largest video hosting platform, the second largest search engine, and the second most visited site in the world. It's crucial, though, that you fold video in your overall social strategy and your overall selling strategy as well, because you can't just throw something up on YouTube and expect people to find it, but it's a great repository to connect with other things. YouTube especially has a lot of sharing features that you can embed things on your website, you can embed them in emails, you can embed them in social. So finally, I wanted to talk a little bit about the analytics and how you really determine how successful your video has been. Well, that's hard to say, because I've gone through, I think, 17 different types of videos today. And that's why I counseled you on wanting to start with a goal and making sure that your video itself actually meets that goal. But if you break it down a little, views, clicks, and shares are really the longest, the easiest benchmark to start with. How many people looked at it? How many people clicked on a call to action that you might offer? How many times did your video get shared? And how many different ways did it get shared? If you want to go to the next level, consider opens and watches. So how long did somebody watch the video? Not just did they click on it, did they see it? How long did they stay? How far and deep into the video did they get? If you're talking about sales, one of the great things if you're doing a sales video is if you see somebody has watched your video, call them right after, because you get notification that they've opened it and they've shared it, or they've shared it with somebody else. If they've shared it with somebody else, that's fantastic sales intel, because then you know that that if you've played it straight and it's not just something that's goofy or silly, that those people are actually wanting to talk more or learn more or have something else. It's a great reason to pick up the phone and call someone. Okay, so that's a lot of data and a lot to go through. So I wanted to do a recap before we wrapped up today. We talked about why video is so important in 2021. More people than ever are really interested in seeing videos more than anything right now. All the different kinds of marketing videos, of which there are 13. There's also 4 different kinds of sales videos that you can do, all of which you can do with the equipment that you have lying around or very little money and expenditure on Amazon. And when you're talking about analytics that matter, set your goal, make sure that it's part of your overall strategic plan, and measure to see how successful you were. If you're interested in more, we're going to send you out our digital marketing ebook. It's going to help you learn how to achieve your goals through better digital marketing. If you've seen me live, you will get this email to you later today. And if you enjoyed our webinar today, well, hopefully you'll come back for my next one. It's going to be understanding the relationship between SEO and content, and how one drives the other and the other drives the former. So that's going to be on Wednesday, March 3rd at 12. It's going to be very important, because most search engines nowadays are talking about the value of good content and making sure that your content is contextual and important. So register at busyweb.com/events. We'd love to see you there. And then again, thank you for joining us. This is me. My name is Trigby. I'm the Buzz Development Director here at BusyWeb. If you have any questions that I didn't answer, I will stick around for a minute or two, and you can put them in the chat pane. Or I'd love to hear from you. You can call me at 651-252-4052. But thanks for coming, everybody, and we'll see you next month.